Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Today we will remember and reflect on Hari Singh Nalwa, covering his birth, upbringing, military successes and his legacy. But first, let's start with some Simran. Satnam Vaheguru, Satnam Vaheguru. 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 Firstly, I want to apologise. This presentation is a tad late now that we have hit June, but the 30th of April marked the death anniversary of the legendary General of the Lahore Darbar, Sardar Hari Singh Nalwa ji. He was born in 1791 in Gujranwala, which is now situated in the Punjab that is in Pakistan. Interestingly, Maharaja Ranjit Singh was also from Gujranwala. Maybe there was something in the water there that it produced two great men of immense stature. Hari Singh was born into a Sikh family of the Sukrachakia Misl. His grandfather, Hardas Singh, had been killed fighting against Ahmad Shah Durrani in 1762. His father, Gurdial Singh, had taken part in many of the campaigns of the Sukrachakiyas Jarat Singh, Sukrachakriya and Mahari Singh. The Sukrachakiya Misl was one of the 12 Sikh misls that had been organised in the mid-18th century. Hari Singh was hardly 7 years of age when his father died. As a boy, he learnt Punjabi and Persian and trained in the arts of riding, musketry and swordsmanship. He arrived at the court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh of Lahore as a young boy of 14. He quickly rose through the ranks to become the commander-in-chief of the armies of the Sikh Empire by distinguishing himself in a series of battles quickly fought and decisively won. It is said he gained the name Nalwa, which basically means one with claws like a tiger, when he had a fight and killed a tiger single-handedly. In 1827, Attock, on the northwestern edge of the Punjab, was captured from the Afghans after a bloody battle, and Hari Singh Nalwa soon found himself at the ramparts of the great city of Peshawar. It was defended by Dost Muhammad Khan, the Emir of Afghanistan. The actual conquest of Peshawar, however, turned out to be a bit of an anticlimax. No great battle was to be fought to conquer the city. Such was the reputation of Hari Singh Nalwa. The Afghan garrison gave up after token resistance, and the Sikhs entered the famed Balla Hissar fort of Peshawar without a fight. The Peshawar fort was renamed by the Sikhs and called Sumargarh, after the Sumar mountain in the Himalayas that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is believed to have visited during his travels. Hari Singh Nalwa had by now earned the nickname the Terror of the Afghans. Under Ranjit Singh, Sikhs expanded rapidly beyond the Punjab to include Kashmir in the north and Multan in the south. However, it was Kabul that Ranjit Singh desired above all, and he trusted Hari Singh Nalwa to deliver it to him. With the fall of Peshawar, Sikhs moved further westward to occupy the strategic town of Jumrod, overlooking the historic Khyber Pass, considered the gateway to India by invaders from the Central Asia throughout history. Right across the Khyber Pass lay the bustling Afghan city and commercial centre of Jalalabad, with Kabul another 150 kilometers to the west. Dost Muhammad knew that once the Sikhs crossed the Khyber Pass and captured Jalalabad, Kabul would fall within a matter of days. To save his empire, he gathered his wearied forces one last time and waited nervously for the right moment. Meanwhile, in Lahore, preparations were in full swing for the wedding of Kunwar Nau Singh, who was Maharaja Ranjit Singh's grandson. Sir Henry Fane, Commander-in-Chief of the British Armies of India, was invited as a special guest for the wedding at Lahore. A splendid show of military strength was planned to impress the British, for which troops were withdrawn from all parts of the Punjab and ordered to Lahore. Singh Nalwa was left in charge of the Jumrod fort with only 800 men. News of the weakly defended Jumrod fort quickly reached Kabul, and wasting no time, Dost Muhammad Khan swooped down on Jumrod with a force of 25,000 men. A fierce battle followed, in which Singh Nalwa was fatally wounded on 28th April 1837. However, as he lay on his deathbed, Nalwa instructed his second-in-command, Sardar Mahan Singh Mirpuri, not to let the news of his death leave the walls of the fort. For 4 days the Afghans were content with firing volleys at the fort from a distance, never daring to storm the fort. On the 5th day, a reinforcement of 10,000 men arrived from Lahore, and the Afghans fled back to Kabul. Jumrod was defended, but the great general was lost. In keeping with his last wishes, his ashes were mixed with the mud at the wrestling pit at Lahore Fort, where young warriors learned their first lessons in the art of fighting. I want to cover a famous story which shows the high character of this great man. Once, when Singh Nalwa had set up camp with his army at Jumrod, a local Muslim woman called Bano watched the Sikhs from a short distance. She found Singh very handsome and attractive, and had thought that the commander of the Sikhs would be a fine man by which to have a son with. One day, Bano came to see the general, who was sitting in his tent. When his guards told him that he had a local woman who wished to see him, Singh gave permission for her to enter his tent. Bano said, "I have heard of the Sikhs. You are a remarkable people. I have been watching you from a distance. I am not married and have no children, but I desire to have a son who is like you." Singh, not understanding the motivation or intention of Bano, said, "My Vaheguru bless you, that you may have a son with the qualities of a Sikh." Bano irritably said, "No, I want to have a son with you, Sardarji." Singh Nalwa replied, "Oh sister, I am already married. I am sorry I cannot marry you or give you what you want." Bano's eyes welled up with tears of disappointment. About to leave, she said, "I had heard that Guru Nanak was great, and that no one leaves empty-handed from the house of Guru Nanak. But today I am being turned away without the wish of a son being fulfilled." Singh Nalwa, a true example of a Sikh of the Guru, replied, "It is true that no one goes empty-handed from Guru Nanak Dev Ji's house. I cannot give you a son, but if you desire a son who is like me, then if you accept, from now on, I will be your son, and I will consider you my mother. Bano was shocked and overwhelmed by Hari Singh Nalwa's sincerity, his high moral character, and faith in the Guru. She said, I had heard that Sikhs of the Guru are great honourable people, but today I've witnessed it with my own eyes. From that day on, Hari Singh Nalwa addressed the Begum Bano as Ma, and she addressed Hari Singh as Puttar. Going back to where it all began, Hari Singh was born in Gujranwala. The city is known as the City of Wrestlers. So clearly Hari Singh wasn't the only strong guy from there. However, he is one of the most famous sons of Gujranwala because he was an outstanding general who pushed back and reversed the centuries-old traditions of marauders coming from the east to loot Punjab and major centres beyond. He was a man of great integrity and calibre, where it was normal for nobles and kings to take many wives and mistresses. He was devoted and loyal to his wife. Following Nalwa's death, the westward expansion of the Sikh Empire was halted, and the Khyber Pass became the boundary between the Sikh Empire and the Emirate of Afghanistan. This was the boundary that the British inherited in 1849 following the annexation of the Punjab. 181 years after his death, this boundary separates the states of Afghanistan and Pakistan now, cleaving the ancient Pashtun heartland into two, and to a great extent being the cause of tribal unrest in Pakistan's northwest. Hari Singh was also a prolific builder and administrator. He founded the city of Haripur in 1822, which is named after him. The city is located a few miles from the ancient site of Taxila and was the first planned town in the region. Today, Haripur is a bustling city with a population of close to 1 million. Hari Singh also built the historic Gurdwara of Banja Sahib at Hassan Abdal near Peshawar to mark Guru Nanak Dev Ji's passage through the region. The Gurdwara today is a major pilgrimage centre for Sikhs. In 2013, the Government of India issued a commemorative stamp to honour the great general. Generations of Pakistanis recall how, even to this day, in the troubled northwestern tribal belt bordering Afghanistan, mothers often put their young children to sleep with the Pashtun words, Chup Shah, Hari Singh Ragale. Stay quiet, Hari Singh is coming. Sangat Ji, I've probably made lots of mistakes during this session. Please forgive me. We're going to end with some Mool Mantar. Please join in. Ek Oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirpo Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Sapan Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugat Sach Happy Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach Ek Oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirpo Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Sapan Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugat Sach Happy Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach Ek Oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirpo Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Sapan Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugat Sach Happy Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach Ek Oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirpo Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Sapan Gur Prasad Jap ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।